Thank you for being here tonight. It's wonderful to be together on a Friday night during Pentecost week. We celebrate Pentecost on Sunday, and it's good to continue it today.
Lean on me. Father, can we grab that chair and have him sit right here? Because we need him up here. Now, we've all come to know Father Ignatius over the past 5 years as our pastor, and 15 years ago today, don't worry, it's going to be painless. Give it up to God. Is this a roast? Oh, no, we're just honoring. So I called up his mother, Gail. We had a nice conversation, and I found out, some things. I said, we want to know what he was like before he was a priest. So we went back to his days in Indiana, and his mom told me that his first grade teacher was actually a priest named Father Al. Is that right? Okay. Well, and Father Ignatius told him in first grade that he was going to be a priest. Is that right? Remember that?
Yes, I remember.
There was also a Father Tim. Okay, Father Tim. How fitting. She also told me about a story that you went to summer camp and you pushed a little girl down into the pool, into the lake, into the pond, right? And you had to apologize to her. Did you remember that story?
No.
I had more than once. Okay. Now, so it turns out. We asked through Gail, his mother, we got in touch with two very special people from his years in grade school. The first one I'd like to introduce is his other first grade teacher. He went to a small Catholic school in Western Indiana called Our Lady of Perpetual Bingo. That was the name of the school. And his other first grade teacher besides Father Tim was Sister Maria Cappuccino. Now, just so you know, Sister Maria Cappuccino was a very holy, prayerful woman. She belonged to a relatively unknown order. I never heard of it. But we looked it up, we did a little research. It's called the Order of Contemplative Sisters of the Holy Espresso. And their website says this. This order is a caffeine-centered mendicant order whose charism is to pray the Liturgy of the Hours every day while desperately trying to wake up before dawn. That's what the website says. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to welcome Sister Maria Cappuccino. Give it up. Let's get you a mic.
Grazie. It is so good to be here with you this evening. Thank you, and it is so good to see one of my favorite students from a first grade. You look so good. Yes, you're about the same size that you were when you got to but that facial hair. I like like it.
Sister Maria, can you give us some insights in stories of Father Ignatius when he was in grade school?
Oh, yes. Well, Father Ignatius, when I knew him in the first grade, his name was Ziggy. Yes. But somehow along the way, he's dropped the Z, and now he's known as Father Iggy. Why did you do that? Didn't you like the Z? He was very good at drawing the Z's, zip across and a zip down and across again. Well, maybe it was that you didn't relate very well to that cartoon figure back then, Ziggy. Oh yes, he was a big, fat man, a little in the cartoon, and you might not have related to him very well. But
what was he like? Go ahead.
There is another story, though. You may not remember this one. Yeah, you might want to sit down for a second. Because when I got to first grade, on one of the first days of first grade, my first grade teacher, who was a sister, maybe even this sister, said, "Who put Ziggy on their paper? That's not your name. That's not your name." And I was like, "Well, I did." And I'm like, "Sister, that is my name." And that's how first grade started off for me. So I'll never forget that. But later we got along just fine because I was good at math, and she liked math students. So.
Okay, I have a question for Sister. Oh. What do you remember was his favorite subject?
Oh, siéntese, por favor. Siéntese. Well, he was a very smart young man. He really was. And but I think his favorite subjects in school were recess and nap time. Yes.
Now, could you tell that he had a vocation to the priesthood by the way he interacted?
Well, he was a little shy. He was a little bit of a shy young man. And he didn't get along always with all of his classmates. But one day they were out in the playground and he caused a big ruckus out there because he insisted that he was going to build a healing center and a retreat center right there in the playground. And all of the students, they just wanted to play Ducka Ducka Goose, and he wanted to play Santa Santa Marta.
Wow. How about, did you remember his mom or dad?
Oh, Gail and Ziggy, yes, very well. Well, one day Gail shared a story with me about when Ziggy came home and told how he heard the story of Moses and the Red Sea. And he told his mom that Moses had to go in behind the enemy lines to rescue all of the people, all of the Israelites. And when he led them out of Egypt and he got to the Red Sea, he got all his architects and engineers to build a big pontoon bridge, and he got the people across the Red Sea. And then on his walkie-talkie, he called for his backup, and they came in and they bombed the bridge, and all the Israelites were saved, and the Egyptians, they died. And Gail said, "Is that really what Sister Maria told you?" And he said, "Oh, Mom, if I told you what Sister said, you would never have believed it."
First of all, Sister Maria, thank you for traveling all this way. And do you have any words of advice, final words of advice to share, maybe with Father Ignatius of the parish going forward? For the next 15 years.
For the next 15 years. Well, here's a little piece of advice and some a fair warning to all of you parishioners. That maybe you should tell them that anything that they may say or do might be in next week's homily.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Sister Maria Cappuccino. Give it up. We have one more guest from his childhood. So I talked to your your mom, and I said, did you have any coaches growing up that you could remember? And she said, well, Zig, his dad, was his coach most of his life, but there was one other dad, and his name was Coach Chapstick. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Father Ignatius's first basketball coach, Coach Chapwick. Here, grab the mic.
Give me 10.
That's the Army. John?
Yeah.
Give me 10 is the Army. This is where you're going to run laps. What is that trail that we have outside?
The Camino.
Perfect for laps, Father. All right, you've come a long way since I coached you in Indiana Junior Hoops. You were in Junior Hoops, right? Okay. Back then, your goal was only as high as a 10-foot rim. But now you've set your sight on something higher. Heaven. For yourself and for your parishioners. Let's start with a riddle. Why did God make Indiana a basketball state? So when he rested on Sunday, he could still catch a good game. Ziggy, you were a fierce competitive basketball player. For what I've heard, your jump shot is still a work in progress. But fortunately, your homilies are nothing but net. Now, Tim uncovered a hobby that you once created to help unite the team. You created, yeah, exactly. You created your own set of trading cards, like basketball cards or Pokemon cards, and you called them Beloved Hoosiers of the Lord. They describe a person's identity as a beloved Hoosier made in the image and likeness of God. Now, Tim was able to purchase on eBay 3 of your
Very
cards.
expensive, very hard, very rare.
All right, so the first beloved Hoosier of the Lord is definitely Indiana's greatest basketball player. That's Larry Bird.
We have some, they're collector's items. So.
And the second person is also, I would call him a superstar. And he had something in common with Larry Bird, namely trash talking. So you might say he's a trash talker for the Lord. I'm talking about Reggie Miller. And by the way, Reggie Miller's sister, Cheryl Miller, was one of the greatest female basketball players ever. In Indiana high school basketball game, she scored 105 points. I mean, it's just, if you know high school basketball, there aren't enough minutes in a high school basketball game to score 105 points. She was that much better than everyone on the court, and she was better than Reggie at the time. And finally, I just need one of these photos. Thank you. They are his cards after all. Caitlin Clark. So we probably all heard of her. I don't know if we all knew that she's from Indiana. So. She is now. Well, Tim, at this point, you asked me a question.
Yeah. Do you remember? You know, Father's card making ability, I guess it started early, right? This is amazing. Do you have any indications while he was growing up that he was going to be special or a priest or holy in any way?
Funny you should ask. Actually, I do. At the end of one of our games in the fourth quarter, the assistant coach came running up to me, and he was frantic. He said, "Coach, we are out of Gatorade." Little Ziggy overheard the conversation, and he went up to the assistant coach and he said, "Do whatever I tell you. Fill up the cooler with water to the brim. Draw some out and take it to the head coach." It was the most delicious Gatorade that I had ever tasted. I turned to little Ziggy and said, "Teams serve the best Gatorade in the first quarter." until the players have had their fill and are fully hydrated. But you have kept the best Gatorade until now.
Let's give it up for Coach Chaplin, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Coach, and thank you, Sister Maria, for joining us.
Maria, napupunan ka ng grasya. Ang Panginoon Diyos ay sumasa iyo. Bukod ka ang pinagpala sa babae lahat at pinagpala rin ang anak mo si Jesus.
Благословлена си меѓу нами и благословен е сад Твојега телеса, Jezus.
Święta Maryjo, Matko Boża, módl się za nami grzesznymi, teraz i w godzinę śmierci naszej. Amen.
But it's great to be here tonight with all of you, and thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's wonderful to be here during this Pentecost season. I wanted to just share a couple of things real quick. One, as many of you know, about 3 months ago, I had an accident, a very serious accident. I injured my head, my hip, my hand. My head is fine. My hip is fine. My hand, it's a longer process. And last Friday, they took a pin out of my hand. It's bigger than it looks in here. It's about that big. And it kind of like starts over the whole healing process when they pull something like that out of your hand. But that's part of the process, of course. And the pin kept everything together until now. And now, hopefully, it'll be able to heal on its own. And that whole experience, back in February 24th, I believe, was it's been a life-changing experience. And part of that experience was, even before that happened, I was asking myself, I don't have any family in Arizona anymore. A lot of my family used to live in Phoenix. Basically, when I moved here, they moved to Florida. And they were done with Phoenix and Arizona. But I stayed here, of course. And so you ask yourself, well, what's going to happen when I do have an accident or some sort of surgery or illness or whatever? I was in the back of my mind somewhere, I was asking myself that. And what I found through this experience is that I do have family here. A number of parishioners, a number of staff members helped me through those days, and all of your prayers, of course. Just very, very thankful. My hand is getting better. It is, everything looks good. So don't worry about my hand. It's going to be okay in the end. And one of the other things from that experience has been, you try to be thankful in life, right? You're taught to be thankful maybe growing up. And I don't know how many people in this room have experienced it, but when you're like this close to death and then you don't die, when you're this close to being disabled for the rest of your life and you're not disabled for the rest of your life, it changes you. And I'm very, very thankful that, God protected me. And I'm also just continuing to be thankful for being here. I've lived in Muncie, Indiana, lived in Indianapolis, Indiana. I tried to write them all down today. I've lived in Portland, Oregon, Steubenville, Ohio, Loretto, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., Mexico City, Herndon, Virginia, Tampa, Florida, Phoenix, Rome, Assisi. I've lived in Arlington, Texas, and Sedona is by far the best place I've ever lived. And it's not just because of the mountains and the scenery either. A lot of it has to do with everyone in this room. For me personally, I can say that I'm already happy, right? So it's not like happiness is somewhere else or sometime else. It's right here, and it's every day. And in the midst of the challenges too, there's happiness because you're able to grow and change and become who God wants you to become and who God wants us to become.